Today we're going to look at Blue Reflection, a game about high school, frilly outfits, and magical girls? Hold on, do I have the right script? I first found this game when I stumbled onto its genuinely stellar soundtrack. I never thought I'd play the whole thing, cry so hard at the ending, and write a paper on it for my graduate school degree, but I did. I really like this game, but it's hard to say it's good or even decent because the production quality is all around quite cheap. Character models only have a few stiff, expressionless animations, possibly worse than Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. There's weird technical issues too, like stuttering whenever you load into a new area. This game also has the single worst Japanese to English localization I have ever seen in my entire life. It is littered with typos, sentences that don't make grammatical sense, and a weird tonal gap where the dialogue sounds less like what high school girls would say and more like what young adult gamer dudes would say. But in spite of its many almost fatal flaws, Blue Reflection still holds a special place in my heart for reasons I hope to make clear by the end of this video. If you go to the website for Blue Reflection, you can actually find the game's core concept and message. The entire thing is pretty long, and also in Japanese, but here's a translation of the most important point. We may be small on our own, but by joining hands we can grow stronger and happier, which makes my thesis for this video remarkably easier to write. Blue Reflection is a video game that uses ludonarrative storytelling to deliver an interactive narrative experience that is almost entirely dedicated to communicating the power and value of human relationships. This is Meaning in Blue Reflection. Spoiler warning. This video contains heavy spoilers for Blue Reflection, including details of the final boss and ending. If you're interested in this game, I'd recommend playing it before watching this video. Blue Reflection was developed by Gust, well known for the Atelier series, and published by Koei Tecmo in 2017. In terms of its basic rules and systems, Blue Reflection is a rather standard Japanese role-playing game, or JRPG. Players can control the heroine in one of two spaces. The first is at school, where you can walk around and talk to various classmates to foster your friendships, get side quests, and advance the main story. The second is an alternate dimension called the Common, where you can explore and use magical powers to fight demons that prey on the emotions of your classmates. Splitting the gameplay into these two distinct environments means that your actions at school are largely focused on human interaction, while your actions in the Common are more focused on combat and exploration. The game's story is set in Hoshinomiya Girls' High School, in an unspecified town in Japan. Apparently it's based off of a real school in Nagoya, but the town's name is never mentioned in-game. Players control the protagonist Shirai Hinako, a former ballet star who was forced to quit dancing due to a serious knee injury. While initially depressed and directionless after losing what was basically her reason for living, she quickly finds purpose after circumstances draw her into a battle that will decide the fate of the world. Hinako is granted the powers of a reflector, basically a magical girl, to fight against the Sephiroth, giant monsters from another dimension that are trying to pass into and destroy the real world through an interdimensional gateway located on the school itself. Two other reflectors, the siblings Shijo Yuzu and Shijo Raim, tell Hinako that whoever defeats all the Sephiroth will be granted one wish. So Hinako resolves to defeat all of the Sephiroth and wish for her leg to be healed, giving her hope to dance once again. As the game progresses, Hinako, Yuzu, and Daim prepare for Sephiroth incursions by collecting fragments, which make their reflector powers stronger. Fragments are crystallized shards of emotion that form in a parallel dimension, the Common, a realm comprised of humanity's collective unconscious. The three collect fragments by establishing relationships with their classmates across multiple character-focused arcs. Broadly speaking, every character has some sort of personal issue they're dealing with, oftentimes related to some sort of misunderstanding or conflict with others. By empathizing with their struggles, Hinako is able to stabilize everyone's feelings in the fragments, which in turn make their reflectors stronger. Stories where the heroine grows stronger through friendships are a pretty exhausted formula. I mean, there's probably at least 10 Disney movies with that theme. But Blue Reflection distinguishes itself by paralleling almost all of its gameplay systems with said story, so both the player and Hinako experience the same arc of making friendships and growing in strength. Compared to other games of the same genre, Blue Reflection has a unique representation of how the player and the protagonist grow stronger. This representation of growth is a major part of how Blue Reflection uses its systems to communicate the value of human relationships. Most RPGs feature experience-based growth systems. By completing various actions, such as defeating enemies or finishing quests, players gain experience points, which lead to level ups at certain intervals. Leveling up results in the player character growing stronger by a clearly quantifiable degree. They gain more health, attack power, defensive power, and so on. The real-world parallel in this case is clear. As you adventure more, you get better at adventuring, just like how practicing any other skill works. Blue Reflection takes a different approach by abandoning experience points entirely, which means fighting and exploring are no longer the primary methods of growing stronger. Instead, as Hinako makes new friends, strengthens improving relationships, or helps people in trouble, she gains growth points, which the player manually allocates to each Reflector Girl to improve their primary statistics and make them stronger. The result is a direct correlation between the player's battle power and the friendships Hinako makes. Players also grow stronger by collecting and using fragments. A number of fragments are collected during the main story, but Hinako can collect more by inviting friends out or having heartfelt conversations with them. As your relationship with certain characters grows stronger, you'll receive fragments from them at regular intervals. Fragments can be assigned to battle skills, modifying them to make them stronger or more multi-purpose. They can increase damage dealt by offensive skills, add healing properties to defensive skills, or inflict debilitating effects on enemy targeting skills. Players are thus incentivized to seek out and get closer to Hinako's friends so they can access more fragments, which gives them a more powerful and varied arsenal to use in battle. The friendships Hinako established also help her during boss fights against the Sephiroth through supporters. During Sephiroth fights, each of the reflectors have a chance of activating supporters with each action they take. Supporters each have different effects, like dealing damage, healing the party, or temporarily improving the party's stats. They also restore a small amount of Aether, an important battle resource that is used to act consecutively and execute powerful coordinated attacks. The Reflector Girls thus improve their own offensive capability and can pull off some pretty sick combos thanks to the friends they meet and help. The result of tying the player's power in battle with the number and strength of Hinako's friendships means both of them go through the same arc of growth throughout the game. When Hinako is initially alone at the start, the player has limited options in battle. But as Hinako establishes and strengthens friendships, the player earns growth points, fragments, and supporters, letting them fight more effectively. This element of helping the player understand Hinako's experience is also crucial to the game's ending, during which the core message and themes are fully realized. In order to really highlight how Blue Reflection dedicates everything to communicating its exaltation of human relationships, I need to discuss the ending. This is your final spoiler warning. Towards the end of the game, Yuzu and Daim reveal all sorts of truths to Hinako. 1. The two were already dead, but were temporarily resurrected by the Common to fight the Sephiroth, and will disappear for good from the world and everyone's memories when the last Sephiroth is defeated. 2. Beating the Sephiroth won't grant Hinako a wish to heal her leg. And 3. The Sephiroth are godlike beings who awaken every million years to duke it out, with the victor reshaping the world to their liking. Hinako is distraught at the news that Yuzu and Daim will disappear and her leg won't heal, and is unsure how to proceed, eventually going around to her friends for advice. It is in this moment that the relationships she's fostered help her in her time of need, as each friend gives her a pep talk and one last fragment before she goes to fight the last Sephiroth. Meet Doth, the final boss and previous victor of the Sephiroth showdown. Whatever. Doth won last time by harnessing human emotions and relationships, which creates the powerful force known as Aether, and reshaped the world so humanity could grow and feed them more power, which means that technically speaking, Doth is responsible for the creation of anime and magical girls. Pretty based. But now, Doth believes human relationships have been weakened by complex societies and regular interpersonal conflict, and decides it will merge humanity into a single consciousness devoid of weakness and suffering. If you think that this twist is incredibly sudden and jarring, I'm pleased to inform you that you are entirely correct. My biggest complaint about the game's writing is how poorly and abruptly this reveal is handled, but the point is that Hinako and Doth's perspectives are now directly opposed. Hinako has faith in the many relationships that have empowered her up to this point, while Doth dismisses them as worthless. The three Reflector girls stomp Doth into oblivion in a final boss battle with one of the greatest music tracks I've ever heard. Doth is marveled by the Reflector's power, that is, the power of human relationships, and admits defeat, leaving the three girls to have a heartfelt goodbye under the setting sun.
消えちゃうの？うん。でもね、大丈夫。ひなちゃんは大丈夫。記憶が消えちゃうから寂しくないよ。忘れない。絶対忘れないから。ひなちゃん、ひなちゃん。さよなら、さよなら。あれ？私、なんでこんなところにいるんだろう。ひなちゃん。あ、ゆず、ライム。そうだ。私は願った。最後に心から願った。絶対に忘れないって。
No matter how many times I play this game, I still find myself moved by the ending. Yes, it's rather cheesy and cliche in regards to the whole message of Hinako was able to remember Yuzu and Naim because friendship is stronger than God, but it brings me to tears every time. Do you know why? Because I wasn't just shown a story about the value of friendship on a screen, I was directly involved with it through the controller. The game is admittedly simple, but its systems are all designed to communicate the value of human relationships by linking players' strength with the friendships Hinako makes. When I've spent most of the game engaged in actions thematically linked to the core message, I'm much more likely to feel convinced or moved by that message when it is directly conveyed through the ending. I love Blue Reflection, but I am also so disappointed by it because despite its ludonarrative effectiveness, it's held back by so many flaws. I mean, look at the localization, it is genuinely atrocious. I think if this game had more budget and polish, it could have done much better sales-wise and gotten a bigger fanbase. On the other hand, there are so many multi-billion-dollar budget AAA games that don't employ ludonarrative design at all, with their systems and narrative themes completely divorced from each other, yet they manage to top sales charts and sell millions of copies. By the way, I don't think the games on screen right now are bad, but I am throwing shade at them for their total lack of ludonarrative design. If there's one thing I'd like you to remember from this video, it's this. Programming and creating a video game is a seriously involved and expensive affair, but conceptually planning and designing a persuasively expressive game isn't that hard. I mean, look at Outer Wilds. That game started as someone's master's thesis, And I know for a fact that most master students aren't exactly blessed with an abundance of resources. Blue Reflection itself isn't that different from a typical Japanese role-playing game. It just has a couple of systems slightly rearranged, yet with some careful thinking, those slightly rearranged systems communicate the game's message just as effectively as the story does. Even though this game is far from perfect or even good, I still love it because every moment and every interaction made me feel something. And that's more than I can say for a lot of games these days. Thank you for watching.